What's going on, beautiful people? It is your boy, the one, the only, Mr. Feet, aka Bubba Feet, here back with a brand new unboxing and review video for you guys here today of, well, the Hot Toys Mustard Trooper, aka Mortar Trooper. So let's get into it.
Mr. Feet? Mr. Bob A. Feet? Sure, whatever.
How's it going, beautiful people? Happy Friday at the time of this release of this video, or Saturday or Sunday, whichever one of those days. Hello everyone. We are back with a brand new Hot Toys figure that just released just a few days ago. And of course, if you guys didn't know, well, it's the Hot Toys Mustard Trooper from the Mandalorian. Yes, ladies and gents, you guys probably already know the other version of this, which is the Incinerator Trooper, aka the Ketchup Trooper. At least that's what I call it. This is the Mustard Trooper, and of course it is technically the Mortar Trooper, which we, like I said, see of course in the Mandalorian. As you guys can see, this is a very different Stormtrooper than your standard Stormtrooper compared to the Stormtrooper Commander that I actually just reviewed not too long ago, probably like 2 weeks ago. Of course, I'm going to give a quick shout out to, of course, the one and only Midas Studios out in Hong Kong for, of course, helping your boy out acquire these figures and, well, shipping them out to me super fast, because I like to get my figures really fast. And if it wasn't for them, well, I wouldn't be able to, well, do these videos for you guys. And of course, if you guys are looking for someone to pre-order your day one pre-orders, well, go check them out, because like I said, I pre-order all of them. That's basically where I get all my figures from, and I have not regretted it once, of course. And the customer service, like I'm telling you, it's not like other sellers out there. Toys Wonderland. And of course, if you guys like these types of day one video figure releases, unboxing and reviews and all that gizmo, well, who else to subscribe to than your boy Mr. Feet himself? I try my best to, well, put these out as fast as possible. And of course, I try to give my honest opinion on figures like this. I really try not to sugarcoat it, because, well, a lot of people tend to do that. But getting into this figure here, as you guys can see, we have the Mortar Trooper here today. And of course, it is very different than your standard Stormtrooper, like I said. As you guys can see, we have the standard Hot Toys box art, as you guys can see, with the picture of the figure here. And of course, a little orange ribbon for the Mandalorian line. Of course, this is the TMS 047. Obviously, that's the number. And then, of course, it's Artillery Stormtrooper, which I call it Mortar Trooper, or technically the Mustard Trooper. And then, of course, we have this little picture over here. So, in all honesty, I'm not a big fan of this figure. It's just, I love Trooper, you know, figures. And as, of course, we take this off. Ooh, that's pretty nice. I do like the box art, though. I really do like the box art. As you guys can see, it's a pretty nice little pose of the Artillery Trooper here. And, yeah, very cool. But, like I said, I'm not really a big fan of this trooper for many reasons, and that is, of course, well, I'll get into that later. But yeah, that's honestly kind of my head right now going into this figure. And ooh, and of course, we get a little glimpse of what we have here today. So of course, ladies and gents, we will get into the accessories, and then of course get into the figure itself. So we will be right back. And as you guys can see, we actually do have a nice variety of, well, accessories here. I do like the variety of it, mostly of the fact piece. Most of the time, most Stormtroopers don't actually come with stuff like this, and it's kind of disappointing. But of course, since this is an artillery, trooper, well, of course, it had to come with stuff. So let's get into the boring stuff. Of course, we do have the base plate here, which I do like. Of course, I love these rectangular ones. Well, they're just more useful than the standard, you know, sand ones. I hate them shits. They're so garbage. I wish Hot Toys stopped giving them. But yeah, we have this one, and it's pretty nice. And it comes with this little sheet over here as well. So, and then of course, it has a little plaque there, as you guys can see right there. And then of course, moving into the more boringish part is we do have the hands, and of course all these have the same finishes. As you guys can see, it has a nice gloss white finish with the yellow gloss finish as well, with the little weathering marks, of course, intimidating, or, you know, replicating the armor look for, of course, well, the armor for the Stormtrooper. You guys can see we have little weathering marks right there, which is a very nice detail, as you guys can see here. And of course, they probably do have the same, you know, weathering marks. As you guys can see, this is the left hand on both sides, and yeah, they do. So, you know, basically, it's really cool to have that, of course. And we just have the standard arms right there, just gripping and fists and all that gizmo stuff. And then moving on to the other accessories, which are actually pretty much the cooler parts of this, you know, set. We actually have this cannon over here, as you guys can see, which is a very nice matte blackish, you know, paint app, as you guys can see on there, with little orange lines throughout the rest of the cannon. as you guys can see. And then these little buttons right here that indicate, well, I'm guessing either go, stop, I don't even know exactly. And yeah, it does have a nice functionality, as you guys can see. You know, obviously you have the legs right here, which obviously stands it just like that, which is very, very cool. And I just sounded super weird saying that, but yeah, it's a pretty cool function. I'm glad it's not just, you know, a standard, you know, it's not still. I'm glad you're able to, you know, move it around and all that, which is a very nice feature. And of course, this little leg part, unfortunately, you can't spin it around, but I don't see why you would, because it just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, it just goes at a 30-degree angle with these legs being able to go to an 80-degree angle at, well, any point that you want. So you just have it like that, which is really cool. And yeah, we have that, of course, well, for the artillery trooper, which of course he uses throughout the film, or I'm sorry, not the film, but the show. And of course, actually my favorite part of this set is the backpack that this comes with, which is really, really nice. It's a really cool feature. Of course, it has the magnetic, which thank God these troopers come with. And of course, we have these little accessories, as you guys can see. Don't know what this is. This kind of reminds me of like a hydro flask and all that. And then we have like this little detail, which is a very nice finish. The backpack is obviously black, matte black, with little kind of finishing touches, as you guys can see, little slight weathering marks there. And of course, we have these detonators, as you guys can see right here. And then you guys are probably wondering what goes in here. Well, ladies and gents, you just slide this puppy right here, and then boom, we have a fourth one, which is a very nice functionality. But not only that, these little detonators right here, well, they come inside over here, and you just plop them in there real quick. And then we have the smaller detonators in there, as you guys can see. I didn't push them in that way. It's kind of a little hard because you kind of have to budge them in there. But you guys can see this thing is pretty stacked and it looks pretty dope. I think it's a very nice feature that Hot Toys did. Of course, you probably can make it the figure pose with, obviously, you can make the figure pose with the backpack, obviously, like pulling out the detonator, or any type of cool stuff like that. So it's a nice little feature, you know, that you can use, you know, posing the figure, which is very cool. So yeah. And of course, we have the little detonators, which is nothing special, which kind of sucks because it's just gray. It's kind of blandish. But yeah, the little detonator is cool as well. So yeah, that's the functionality of this backpack, which is a very nice feature with this accessory, you know, this specific accessory. But yeah, with that being said, ladies and gents, that's pretty much all the accessories that this figure comes with. And of course, now what we will do, of course, is we'll get into the figure itself. So we'll be back. All right, ladies and gents, so as you guys can see, we have the figure out of the box here. And my first initial thoughts, it's actually a very, very nice figure in person. I mainly say that about all figures just because that's really just the case. I don't really like basing my opinion off of just, you know, actual, you know, pictures, because it's kind of hard to do it. It's very different seeing it in person. And I really do like how it looks. I like the actual yellow on it. Yellow is a really, really nice color. I think one thing I just don't really like is just the pattern on his helmet. I just don't like that paint option on the helmet. I just think it just looks kind of wacky and just kind of weird. I just don't really like it. But yeah, getting into the figure itself, as you guys can see, we have the normal white armor all around the body. As you guys can see, the yellow markings throughout the whole body, which is really nice. Throughout the whole figure, we have little weathering marks. As you guys can see, little paint chips right there. And of course, you guys can kind of see little weathering. Of course, more so on the boots itself. I know it's kind of hard to see because, you know, kind of the lighting and all that, but I'm sorry. But I do have the yellow things just because it's kind of, I don't want to take the boots off. But yeah, you guys can see little weathering marks throughout the whole armor itself, which is a very, very nice addition. I like that fact that, you know, Hot Toys always makes little weathering marks on it, and then on the back, same thing like that. And of course, we move up, you guys just see the abdominal area with little weathering marks, as you guys can tell. And then of course, like I said, yellow markings throughout the whole body, which is very nice. And then of course, we have this very nice pleather pauldron, as you guys can see. I really like the look of this. Actually, maybe the quality got a little bit better compared to other ones because I'm used to like the that trooper ones, but this one looks quite nice. I do like the little buttons right here, which, you know, implicate how it's put on, like if it's a button. And then the yellow over here, you guys can see it's really nice, really nice. I don't think this is something that would break easily, or I guess, you know, flake off as much people would hope so. But I still want to take my chance on that just because it's pleather. So if, you know, I would just still be careful on that. But yeah, and then moving on the arms, you guys can see all the yellow markings there, of course, with the little weathering marks as well along the arms, as you guys can see. And then of course, last but not least, we have the helmet there, as you guys can see. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of how it just goes down the middle, just kind of just spreads out. I wish they kind of had it like little bit different, kind of like clones. I know they didn't want to replicate clones markings and all that, but still, I'm not really a big fan of it. It does look really nice though. I do like the fact that it does have its weathering marks and all that. And of course, like I said, even in the paint application, you guys can see the chips there. And yeah, overall, it's a very nice helmet. And yeah, like I said, it's just the paint pattern on it as well. But overall, this figure is really nice. Posability is a lot better than I expected, just because I expected it to be like the Incinerator Trooper, which I personally, when I first saw reviews of it, I heard the posability of it and, you know, just the flexibility of the whole figure itself was not that very good. But as you guys can see, the undersuit is actually like this very cloth feel to it. It's not the rubber suitish, which I believe the Incinerator Trooper was. I'm not too sure. You may have to correct me on that. But yeah, it's actually pretty much flexible. Of course, you're going to have limited ability on this arm just because of the pauldron here, but it still goes up a pretty nice way. Same with this one. This actually goes higher, of course, because it doesn't have anything blocking it. And then legs, you guys can kind of spread it all there. You can't really move it back just because of this armor plate. It's kind of covering it, but I don't think you're going to be doing anything crazy. More so, it's going to be like a knee thing where, like, you know, you're doing something, which is pretty cool. It kind of still does its, you know, thing. And then the head moving around, it's kind of just, you know, you can't really move it much because of the pauldron there, but it is a lot more better than I expected. And of course, well, you can still display it or, you know, pose it better than a Death Trooper, so that's a good thing. But yeah, overall the figure's pretty nice. I do like the look of it and, you know, the detail that they put onto it. And I know that was a quick rundown on the figure itself. I really just want to give my opinion out, and I don't want to, you know, waste your guys' time. So what we will do now, of course, ladies and gents, is of course go to the final part of the video, which is of course posing this figure in, well, the poses that I can pose in, and of course expressing my final thoughts while giving my rating on this figure itself. So we will be back in. So we are back with the final part of the video where we discuss my final thoughts about the figure itself while showing it in the many different poses that you can, you know, pose it in, and then of course giving it my rating, which I have been giving for the last 2 videos or something. Like, my rating system is determined by this little Lego Boba, as you guys can see right there, and it is determined by whether if I give him 1, meaning it's shit and that you don't actually buy it because it's not worth your money, or it's a 5 and it's a for sure pass and it's worth every single penny. And well, we'll get into that in just a second. But here, like I said, we have the figure here in its final pose that I have posed it in a very simple but yet, I guess, empowering pose, I guess you can say. I like really simple museum poses where you can kind of define, I guess, the character. I know that kind of goes too deep into it, but I do like how it looks in this pose. Overall, I think this figure is a really nice figure, and it is very detailed and very different than your normal Stormtrooper compared to the Stormtrooper Commander, which I personally did not like that much just because it was not worth the price point. Because this is actually the same price as that, and as you guys can see, this is a lot more, or at least you get more out of this compared to the Stormtrooper Commander, which I do like this. The only thing I didn't mention is the fact that it doesn't come with its own blaster, which I know is kind of not what he had in the show, but still, I think something like that would have added a little bit more value, I guess, to him than just, you know, the mortar. It's kind of awkward. I know he's just a mortar trooper. He's in the show, he just shows that he's just that for the most part, but still, I think a blaster would have been cool. But other than that, I do like the decaling on the figure itself. I like the little pauldron right there. I love the accessories it comes with just because it's so different than what we've seen with usual Stormtroopers compared to in the past and all that. You know, we usually just have a normal backpack, but I just like the accessories that it comes with, also because it's also a new variant of a Stormtrooper that we've had for sure. And I like the fact that it's, you know, yellow. I really like yellow. The yellow coloring on this is really nice. I like the little weathering and dirt marks that you see throughout the whole figure, and overall it's just a really nice figure. I really just don't like that marking on his face. I just don't like that pattern. I wish they did something more different than that, just because they already did it with the Incinerator Trooper. So, and I'm not really a big fan of the Incinerator Trooper, in all honesty. That's just not my favorite type of variant of a Stormtrooper. It just looks weird. And the fact is that the fact that they use yellow is more different than what we've gotten past with other Stormtroopers when it comes to, like, you know, shock troopers and all that. Like, mainly, for the most part, Stormtroopers that I've seen variants of them, they all come in the, you know, the red color, you know. They all come in the red color, and it's very, you know, kind of repetitive to the point where they introduce a new variant and new color of a Stormtrooper. So that's pretty cool. This is a very cool figure, but for me personally, I don't see myself keeping this in my collection due to the fact mostly because my collection really consists of, you know, more important characters than, you know, a normal Stormtrooper. That's why I didn't keep the Stormtrooper Commander, because, well, that's not something that I really want in my collection. Maybe in the future down the line when I have more space, I'll probably try to collect all the Stormtroopers, being honest. But for now, I think this is something that I won't be keeping in my collection, mostly due to that and the fact that, you know, it's just a Stormtrooper. But then this is where my rating comes in. I will give this figure a 3 out of 5 Lego Bobas, due to the fact that I do like this more than the Stormtrooper Commander. I kind of gave the Stormtrooper Commander a really high rating, where I think I gave it a 2.5. I should have just given that a straight up 2. Where this, I believe it's a solid 3. More due to the fact that it's a very nice figure. It's very detailed in its aspect, being like it's very unique in its own way with the yellow markings and all that. And the accessories is probably one of the best accessories that I've seen with the trooper, because most of these troopers, you know, when it comes to short troopers, death troopers, they're very bland. They just come with hands and a blaster in the base, and that's really it. Where this is very different, and I know that has more to do with the, you know, the type of trooper that he is, but still it's very different in the fact that Hot Toys, you know, implemented its own type of thing with it. It's very cool, and I really like it. It's very unique. Poses really well compared to the Incinerator Trooper. I believe it actually poses really cool, which I'll show right now. You know, him putting the explosive in the cannon. You can see that you can really extend it into what you really want it to be, especially the fact that you wanted to put it in that pose. You can really do that, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, I really do think this is a really solid figure, especially if you are a trooper collector and you like, you know, collecting all the Stormtroopers and all. I definitely think this is going to be a solid piece in it. Going into this, I didn't really have any interest in this, but seeing it now and all that, it's pretty cool. I really do like this figure. It's a really nice, unique piece, and maybe one day I'll have it back in the collection, because well, I'm not going to have it anymore. And yeah, I really do think this one at least is pretty much worth the price point that you're paying for, because I really think that it comes with a nice variety of things. And yeah, compared to the Stormtrooper Commander, this is definitely a better version of a Stormtrooper that you probably want to get. But with that being said, ladies and gents, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, piece. It really helps me out. And of course, if you guys like these types of day one unboxings and releases and reviews and all that type of stuff, well, hit that little red subscribe button, hit the little bell notification, because, well, who else better to watch these beautiful unboxings and early releases than your boy Mr. Feet himself. And of course, let me know what you guys think about this figure down in the comments section below, because I really do like interacting with people about, you know, figures and all that. And I really like to hear people's opinions. You know, it probably may be different than me. But with that being said, ladies and gents, I'm just a simple man just trying to make his way through YouTube, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.